Hey there friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I've got another Remnant 2 build video for you guys as I look to combine the Invoker with every other archetype in the game. And I've been having a lot of fun testing everything with this because there's a lot of variety and some unexpected things that combine very well. And the Invoker and the Summoner are just that. A match that I wasn't expecting to be nearly as good as it actually is. This is called the Visionary Spirit of Darkness, and it is great for ad clear. It's got a huge AoE, and it's really good for bosses and heavier enemies as well. You can clear them really quickly. So I'm using Way of Keula, absolutely broken. One of the best skills in the entire game right now. Recommend using it as often as possible because I would definitely believe this will get nerfed sooner rather than later for how good it is, especially when you increase the AoE on it. It's pretty wild. Then I'm also running the flyer minions. This is for a couple reasons. I like to explode these ones from a distance, and then if you didn't know, when you resummon your minions, you are going to get faster cooldown for your Way of Keula while you have Invoker as your archetype. So it just combines really well because I'm going to use those, explode them, resummon them, and then I'll get that explosion damage, I'll get the healing pool, and then I'll get my Way of Keula back even faster. It's just a fantastic little loop that you're going to follow there. Now, as far as the rest of the gear that I'm using, I do have on the Lido set just because I wanted to for this one. I normally run lighter armor, but tossing this on with strong back is very effective overall. I'm also running the Void Heart with skill cooldown, skill damage, and then mod cost. The reason for this, a lot of people don't like the Void Heart, but personally, I've gotten really used to the way it works and popping it before I absolutely need it. And because I don't have a ton of healing with this build all the time, I essentially can pop this whenever I'm getting a little bit of damage at me, and then as I get chunked down a little bit more, then eventually I'll heal back up to 100%. It works out very effectively. So between this, the pools that the flyers drop when they explode, so that heals, and also a bit of lifesteal with the summons as well, it works out pretty well. I'm also running the Thorn with Bandit. This is really nice because on hit, the 30% to return the magazine is very, very nice. And overall, this explosion damage gets escalated with some of the bonuses. Like, it works perfectly with detonation trigger. If you didn't know, that is explosion damage. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're using this, definitely lean into a more explosive build. Melee doesn't matter. I didn't use it one time. I just threw on the Atom Smasher because it looks cool. And then I'm also using the Corrupted Meridian. I think this one's a bit underrated because when you use Dead Point, the damage is really, really nice. And when you charge it up to the 3 stacks, say you're in co-op and you're not getting targeted, then, or your enemies are targeting your flyers, this can do a nice chunk of damage at any given time, so I do like it. The start of the show is going to be Detonation Trigger. Obviously, this doesn't work with Way of Keula, but everything else you have that you're going to be using is pretty much exploding all the time. You're going to get some burning in there as well. Very, very nice. Blasting Cap Ring for that increased explosive damage as well. And then Burden the Gambler disables weak spots, increase crit chance and crit damage. This is nice because nothing you're using is really going to be effective with weak spots. Because the Thorn tracks, you are not really going to be able to hard focus on weak spots for enemies anyway. So, plus you don't get weak spot damage from the Corrupted Meridian. Now, Soul Link, this is just for a little bit added health. You could, if you have really good survivability, if you're able to stay alive and you don't have to worry about it, swap this out for a more damage heavy ring. I just like to have that backup just in case I am getting knocked around a little bit. And then finally, we got the Braided Thorns, increases crit chance by 10%. Again, combine this with the Burden of the Gambler, and you got 20% extra crit chance right there. With how much you're shooting with the Thorn, how much ammo you're using, and with all the different abilities, plus the crit chance is higher for your Way of Keula, just really combines well to get those crits up quite a bit. Now, as far as the traits, I got Gifted in Regrowth, obviously, Fortify, Strongback, Vigor, Spirit, Expertise, Amplitude, Blood Bond, Rugged, and then Bark Skin. Now, a gameplay loop for this is pretty standard. You would expect this from a summoner build where you pop your summons as soon as you pop into a new area, as soon as you hit the crystals to save, get your stuff back, all that kind of good stuff. You're going to want your summons up at all time. And then you're initially going to lead with a Way of Keula as soon as you see some enemies and just watch how the lightning is hitting enemies all around. Then you can use your melee weapons. But the other thing to do very early on, maybe you'll use your mods for your Thorn as well as your Meridian, but then immediately you're going to want to pop your explosions on your flyers. They are going to then target enemies with the projectile that they send out, and make sure that they're kind of within range of them because it doesn't extend too far. But then you'll get your Way of KO back really fast at that point, and you can just resummon your minions at that point, and then the cycle just repeats. So you might have to fire your other weapons a bit, but honestly, my abilities were doing most of it. Then combine that with the mods, and you're just doing really nice damage overall. Obviously, okay, so every gameplay that you're seeing, all on Apocalypse difficulty, you can see it there, and I just like this build because it's a lot of fun. I don't run explosive builds enough, especially an explosive build that doesn't feel as detrimental to running co-op. That's one of the biggest problems I have with these types of builds, honestly, is I always see friends running it, or I link up with randoms and they'll be running an explosive build and they're doing more damage to their allies than they are to the enemy, and that can be a massive problem because there's nothing more frustrating than if your teammate downs you all the time as they're trying to do their damage, but you're just trying to survive essentially. It really sucks, and it's something that this build doesn't really have to worry about too much. The only one you really got to worry about a little bit is the Corrupted Meridian, especially if I've had this happen where one of your minions, one of your flyers will fly right across your screen into your face and you will blow yourself up. That's the only real danger. If you do worry about that more, you can obviously run something like Kinship, but I didn't find it too necessary with this at all, so that's entirely up to you. Anyway, I really enjoyed this build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm glad I was able to try some of the new items with this. Got the new Invoker archetype as well as the Thorn, and really use those to great effect. Let me know what archetypes you want to see me work on next. So far, I have done Ritualist, Summoner, as well as the Medic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what other options there are that would be really good. I think someone had previously asked me to do the Invoker with the Invader for maybe a permanent backstab type of build. So I'm going to try that out next, I believe, and see how it works. More melee focused. Might not work out as well as I hope, but I've been pleasantly surprised so far with all the different options we get. And I can't wait to see what else we have in store for us with these different builds. I think there's a lot of creativity you can come up with the Invoker itself, and that's very fun to me. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Remnant 2 content from me going forward. I do always appreciate it. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.